The Brave Rabbit and the Enchanted Carrot. Chapter 1. The Weeping Forest. Once upon a time, there was a magical forest called the Forest of Colors. This forest was full of life. Its tall trees touched the sky, its green leaves danced with the wind, and its colorful flowers swayed under the warm sunlight. The animals lived happily, and the forest looked like a painting drawn with the colors of nature. But suddenly, something strange happened. The green leaves began to wither and turn brown, as if they were crying. The clear rivers dried up, leaving behind barren land. Even the birds stopped. Chapter 1. The Weeping Forest. Once upon a time, there was a magical forest called the Forest of Colors. This forest was full of life. Its tall trees touched the sky, its green leaves danced with the wind, and its colorful flowers swayed under the warm sunlight. The animals lived happily, and the forest looked like a painting drawn with the colors of nature. But suddenly, something strange happened. The green leaves began to wither and turn brown, as if they were crying. The clear rivers dried up, leaving behind barren land. Even the birds stopped singing, as if they had lost their voices. The forest became a sad place, and the animals felt fear and hunger. The animals gathered around the wise owl, who lived in the tallest tree in the forest. The owl was known for her great wisdom and always gave advice to the animals when they were confused. They stood in silence, waiting for the owl to tell them what had happened. The wise owl said in a sad voice, "The forest is dying. The reason is that the heart of the forest is sick. The only thing that can heal it is the golden carrot buried under the moon tree at the top of the Mountain of Hope. But the journey there is difficult and dangerous." The animals fell silent, their hearts pounding with fear. Then the cheetah, who considered himself the fastest in the forest, asked, "Who will dare to go to the Mountain of Hope?" The animals looked at each other, but no one stepped forward. Even the cheetah, who believed his speed would save him from any danger, shook his head in fear. But from the crowd emerged a small rabbit. His name was Bobby, and in his paw, he held a tiny carrot, the only charm left to him by his grandfather before he passed away. Bobby stepped forward with confident steps and said in a clear voice, "I will go to the Mountain of Hope." Laughter erupted from the crowd. The fox sneered, "You? Little one. Even the eagles fear that mountain." The bear, who believed his size was his strength, said eagerly, "You won't last a single day." But Bobby didn't back down. He looked at the wise owl and said, "My grandfather once told me, courage isn't the absence of fear, but facing fear despite everything." The wise owl looked at Bobby with glistening eyes, then handed him a golden leaf. "Take this. When you feel lost, open it." The next morning, Bobby packed a small bag made of leaves, placing inside his favorite carrot and the golden leaf. He stood at the edge of the forest, gazing at the distant mountain that touched the blue sky. His heart pounded like drums, but he whispered, "For my forest, I will be brave." Just as Bobby took his first step beyond the forest, he heard a strange whisper from the trees. "Be careful, the path is full of surprises." Bobby turned quickly, but all he saw was a shadow disappearing behind a nearby tree. A shiver ran down his spine, but he gripped his grandfather's charm tightly and continued on his way. When Bobby reached the first bend in the path, Lulu, the bear's daughter, ran to him and handed him a wilted flower. "Take it. It's the last flower in the forest." Bobby hugged her, feeling a strange warmth fill his chest, as if the flower had squeezed out one final dewdrop for his journey. As Bobby took his first step beyond the forest, the wind picked up a golden leaf from the ground, scrawled in elegant writing. Chapter 2. The Whispering River. Bobby hopped along the winding path, his tiny paws crunching on dried leaves. The golden leaf from the wise owl fluttered in his bag, and the wilted flower from Lulu was tucked safely under his ear. The sun began to dip, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. But Bobby didn't stop, knew time was running out for the Forest of Colors. Suddenly, he heard a sound like thunder. Rounding a bend, he froze. Ahead lay a raging river, its waters roaring and churning like a wild beast. The stones that once formed a bridge were scattered, swept away by the current. "Oh no," Bobby whispered. The Mountain of Hope loomed on the other side, but the river seemed impossible to cross. Just then, a soft voice piped up. "Need help, little traveler?" Bobby turned to see a tiny turtle with a moss-covered shell peeking out from behind a rock. Her eyes sparkled with mischief. "I'm Tilly," she said. "This river's been angry ever since the forest fell sick, but I know a secret." "A secret?" Bobby's ears perked up. Tilly pointed to a cluster of glowing mushrooms on the riverbank. When the moon rises, the mushroom stones light up. Step on them quickly, and they'll hold your weight, but only if you trust them. Bobby gulped. The mushrooms were small and slippery. One misstep, and the river would swallow him whole. You're brave, aren't you? Tilly nudged him. Brave enough to save your forest? Bobby tightened his grip on his grandfather's carrot charm. I can do this. As the first stars blinked awake, the mushrooms began to glow blue, green, and gold. Bobby took a deep breath and leaped onto the first one. It wobbled but held firm. Hurry, Tilly cheered. They won't glow forever. Bobby hopped faster, his heart racing. The river roared below, spraying his fur with icy droplets. Halfway across, the glow of the mushrooms began to fade. The leaf, Tilly shouted. Use the golden leaf. Bobby pulled out the wise owl's gift. As he unfolded it, the leaf burst into radiant light, reigniting the mushrooms. With one final leap, he landed safely on the other side. You did it, Tilly clapped her tiny flippers. But be careful, the forest sickness has twisted the path ahead. Not everything is as it seems. As Bobby thanked Tilly and turned to go, a thorny vine slithered across the path behind him, blocking his way back. Ahead, the trees seemed to lean closer, their branches forming a shadowy archway. Carved into the bark were words that made his fur stand on end. Beware the eyes that never sleep. Chapter 3. The Twisted Woods. Bobby entered the Twisted Woods, where towering trees coiled around each other like snakes, their tangled branches blotting out the moonlight. The air reeked of decay, and strange shadows slithered across the ground like lost spirits. The golden leaf in his hand glowed faintly, lighting his path like a tiny star. Suddenly, he heard a rustle behind him. He turned but saw nothing. Then a deep voice whispered, "Who dares enter my realm?" From the darkness emerged large golden eyes burning like fire. They belonged to a shadowy giant resembling a wolf, but its body was made of dead branches and leaves. The shadow spoke with a voice like creaking wood. "I am the guardian of the Twisted Woods. You shall pass only if you solve my riddle." Bobby trembled but remembered his grandfather's words. Courage is facing fear. Fine, what's your riddle? The guardian laughed eerily. What is owned by all but lost when spoken? Bobby thought for a moment. He glanced at the golden leaf, then at his carrot charm. Suddenly, he recalled Lulu's words. Hope is the only thing that never dies. It's a secret. The guardian shuddered, its branches crumbling. Correct, but you haven't won yet. The ground beneath Bobby's feet split open, revealing twisted roots forming a staircase downward. Choose, descend into the root world, or face me. Bobby chose to descend. Below, he found a dark tunnel glowing with mushrooms. A faint whimper led him to a tiny hedgehog trapped in the roots. Save me, the curse made the roots alive. Bobby rushed to help, but the roots coiled around his legs. The golden leaf blazed brightly, forcing the roots to retreat. After freeing the hedgehog, it said, "The path to the moon tree is through the lake of mirrors, but beware. The mirrors show the heart's lies." As Bobby emerged from the tunnel, he saw a black lake smooth as glass. His reflection wasn't a rabbit, but a red-eyed monster. The guardian's laughter echoed, "Welcome to my game. Who are you truly?" Chapter 4. The Lake of Mirrors. Bobby stood at the edge of the Lake of Mirrors, smooth as glass but black as starless night. His monstrous reflection glared back, while the guardian's laughter echoed, "Mirrors never lie. This is what your soul hides." Bobby raised the golden leaf, but its light dimmed against the lake's darkness. Suddenly, the waters parted, forming a path of glowing crystals. He stepped forward hesitantly, each step sharpening the monster's reflection. "Who am I truly?" he whispered, trembling. From the lake's depths emerged a voice soft as silk. "You choose to be the rabbit or the beast." A silver deer, luminous as moonlight, appeared before him, her eyes like dewdrops. She said, "I am the guardian of the moon tree. To reach it, you must face your lies." She pointed her antler at the surrounding mirrors. Suddenly, each reflected Bobby's memories. First mirror. His grandfather drowning in the flood, Bobby powerless to save him. Second mirror. The animals laughing as he screamed, "I'm not weak." Third mirror. The forest turning to ash as he wept alone. "No, this isn't me," Bobby cried, the golden leaf slipping from his paw. The silver deer caught the leaf and said, Truth is like light, it hurts the eyes but heals the heart. The leaf blazed, transforming the lake into a golden mirror. For the first time, Bobby saw himself, a small rabbit with eyes blazing unyielding resolve. "This is me," Bobby declared. The mirrors shattered one by one, revealing the moon tree on the horizon, its silver branches glittering like stars. But before Bobby could reach the tree, a black shadow swooped from the sky. A giant bird with a sword-like beak and ember eyes screeched, "The golden carrot is mine, and no pathetic rabbit will take it." Chapter 5. The Battle at the Moon Tree. The storm raven lunged at Bobby with lightning speed, its razor-sharp beak spewing black sparks. But Bobby leaped aside at the last moment, clutching the golden leaf, which now glowed like a tiny sun. "I won't let you destroy my forest," Bobby shouted as the leaf unleashed golden rays, forcing the raven to retreat. From atop the moon tree, the silver deer cried, "The golden carrot is here, but you must plant it with the blood of your courage." Bobby looked at his tiny paws. Blood? Then he understood. True courage is sacrifice, even if it costs everything. He approached the ancient trunk where the golden leaf warmed his heart. He buried his carrot charm in the black soil and whispered, "Please, revive our forest." A golden light exploded from the soil, devouring the darkness. The storm raven screeched furiously, but its wings crumbled to dust. The ancient tree began to bloom, its silver branches stretching like arms embracing the entire forest. Colors returned to the forest. Leaves turned green, rivers flowed, and animals emerged in awe. Even the fox who'd mocked him gazed at him with respect. "A little rabbit, saved us!" But Bobby was exhausted. He collapsed to his knees as the golden leaf wilted in his paw. The silver deer smiled sadly. "Sacrifice is part of courage, but the forest will never forget you." Happy ending. Suddenly, a new golden carrot sprouted from the soil, brighter than ever. Bobby grasped it, feeling new energy surge through him. The healed forest was now called the Forest of Hope. Bobby returned to his friends, who threw a grand celebration. Even the bear who doubted him raised a cup of berry juice and declared, "Courage isn't measured by size, but by will."
Thank you for watching our story today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to enjoy more fun stories. Share with us in the comments the names of characters or stories you'd like us to tell next. And don't forget to share the video with your friends and children so everyone can benefit. See you in a new story. Take care. All.